How's the pedal business going?
I mean, it goes. It's for me as a small builder, it goes slow. I come up with ideas, I build stuff, and then it sits for a while. Sometimes it flies out here, but I don't know. With COVID, it's been a little more difficult because a lot of the people are having trouble getting parts
Yeah,
and then getting the parts shipped to you, and then the extension of the mail system is just in shambles right now.
yeah.
With all the extra stuff, everybody's getting everything in the mail now.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, it's certainly a challenge. That's for sure. But you come on, you've got a superb reputation in the industry. Everybody, who mentions you to me
yeah.
is really positive.
Well,
Yeah.
I try to be positive. It's it's one of those things. Everybody in the community should be. We're all friends. We all do the same thing. We all love the same stuff. I mean, that's what's great about pedals. It brings people together, and musically, it sonically changes everything. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you make some fantastic things. I was listening to somebody that I mean, I always watch your clips and things like that, and your demos and stuff like that.
I try to fit everything into like a really short amount of time, so that way, you don't want to spend more than 1 or 2 minutes watching a pedal demo.
Yeah,
And I'm not that great at playing, so I don't want to play for more than 1 or 2 minutes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm just doing a pedal demo at the minute, and it's probably gone on longer than it should. But I might just put it out there as kind of my first one, a little bit longer than normal, and then
sometimes it's just about getting some sounds out there to people. Like, if you just want to hear what it sounds like, that's great.
yeah,
When I worked at Subdecay, I did the Super Spring Theory video, and I went out and I did the full like Andy type demo where I learned a bunch of songs. I played over and over and over again to get the right things and put it all together in a video. The video is great,
yeah,
but I don't want to spend that much time on a video when I'm only going to make 5 or 6 of that pedal, 5 to 10. If I was going to make hundreds of them, then yeah, maybe I'd spend the extra time.
mm, yeah. Good, valid
Yeah,
point. Valid point.
yeah.
So, but
So if I sell all 5 pedals and they're gone, or all 10 pedals and they're gone, and I make sometimes like with the Joy and Sorrow pedal, most of the time when I make one, it's gone before I can even film the 1 minute demo. So
yeah, I bet. I bet. But music, I mean, you mentioned music there. What music is Brandon into? What are your musical tastes?
so my tastes are very large. I like to find new stuff, and I like really weird music a lot of the time. It's not just I listen to a lot of the standard stuff, but I mean, I wrote a bunch of notes here, and I've got 2 pages worth of stuff that I mean, if you want to hear it. But lately, I've been getting more into like a lot of covers lately, like covers of some of the songs I really like. So like Blackstone Cherry did a version of War that's just
Yep.
great. Stone Sour did Love Gun. I mean, there was one I really liked as a cover of Electric Avenue by a band called Skindred.
All right. Um, is that Eddie Grant's Electric Avenue? Is it Eddie
Yeah,
Grant?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so they redid it, but it sounds kind of like Apache Indian, but
Right.
it's really interesting how they did it.
Yeah.
And then there's this band that does a lot of covers called Tragedy, and they have this cover of "It's Raining Men" that is just amazing because the beginning of it they made it sound like Slayer's "Raining Blood,"
Wow.
and they redid the whole song, and that's great. And then there's a couple bands that have done covers of Paula Abdul's "Straight Up," and all of
Yeah.
them are always good.
Yeah,
So
I like those things.
yeah,
It kind of, especially if you give a sort of like a pop song a rock twist.
yeah,
It really it opens people's eyes a bit and ears, and it's what I mean. I'm trying to think. There's a few covered bands that I've played in and done Poker Face by
Yeah,
I forget why.
Lady
That's it,
Gaga.
Lady Gaga. I should remember Lady Gaga. And there's a couple of versions. I think is it Hailstorm have done a cover version
Yeah.
of it. I think, yeah. And that cover version is fantastic. You know.
Yeah, I gotta say, Lizzie Hale does some amazing covers.
Yeah.
Almost everything that I've heard her cover has just been great. She's done some AC/DC stuff. I've heard her do, God, what's that one? The Jefferson Airplane cover with Stone Sour. She did a cover. It was
Yeah.
great. Normally, I'm not into all those kind of things, but some covers just are really good. One I heard just the other day was Hollywood Vampires, Alice Cooper and
Yeah.
Johnny Depp. Them.
Yep.
They did a cover of Alice Cooper's "School's Out," but at the end of it, they mixed in another brick in the wall. So it's like the two.
Cool.
It was amazing. When I first heard it, I was like, wait, no, they're not doing this. And they did, and it was great. But I mean, lately I've been into a lot of covers, but at the same time, I always go back to my old favorites. And I actually grabbed a couple of my records.
Lovely.
Pink Floyd Animal.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I've got my Pink Floyd picture up there.
This was a new one for me. Was Pacific Latitudes.
Oh, yes.
And I saw this one on Instagram. It was like an ad, and they were from right around here. And so the first time I heard it, it sounded a lot like old Pink Floyd stuff.
Oh, cool.
I had to have this record. And so, yeah, it's Ghosts in the Land of Promise. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
they're called Pacific Island.
Pacific Latitudes.
Right, I'm going to check them out.
Classics.
Yeah.
Yep. Some Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
You know.
Elton.
Elton John.
Oh, yeah, brilliant. Oh, some Doors.
And then Roger Waters, the new album. Newer, obviously.
Yeah, cool. Elton John is such a prolific songwriter. Look over his career, and the songs that the hits that it's done, it's just phenomenal, isn't it?
Yeah, I just finally watched the Rocket Man movie, so that was good.
Yeah, I've got to watch that myself. We watched the Bohemian Rhapsody video movie last year. It's brilliant, absolutely fantastic. You know, really have captured it very, very well. You know, so but, excellent. So when did you start building effects? When did the rabbit holes start for you?
Well, it's about 6, maybe 7 years ago. I first started looking into it because I couldn't afford pedals, and I thought it would be cheaper to build my own. Well, that's not the case, but I started off trying to build a delay, and that was just an utter failure. So I built a buffer, was the first thing I built.
Wow.
And then I built a fuzz pedal, and then I just started modding stuff and trying to learn more and more. And so finally I was able to build the delay I wanted. I built it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the local shop, the guy that worked there, really got me into building because he wanted something specific. And so I just tried to build it, and I built it, and then moved on from there.
Wow. And a buffer is quite a unique one to start with. I mean, a lot of people start with fuzzies and things like that. So what made you choose a buffer? Was it just simply you needed one, or?
No, I could do it point to point, so I didn't have to go out and buy extra stuff. I had a couple things lying around, and it was just easy to put it together point to point. And truthfully, when I first did it, I had to post it to a forum because I wasn't sure if it would even work or if it would blow up on my face. I didn't know anything. And so I posted it, and somebody was like, yeah, that would work, but your diode's the wrong way around, so it's not going to get power. So I flipped that, and it worked right off the bat. It was great.
Brilliant. Excellent. And are you still making buffers, or?
I put buffers in some stuff, you know. I use them more inside the pedal now. I don't do buffered bypass really, but sometimes you need to have them, you know, in certain places and pedals.
And what would you say makes a good buffer? Because I mean, there's lots of buffers on the market, various different prices and things like that. And I've heard people say that, you know, there are buffers and there are buffers, you know, serious buffers. And, you know, sometimes you have to maybe spend a bit to get the right type of buffer. Is that correct? Or
So, truthfully, I don't know that much about buffers. I know that it's basically it's just an amplifier that amplifies your signal to, you know, unity level through your cable, so you don't lose any of the high end. And I mean, I've seen buffers for like $200-$300,
yeah,
and it boggles my mind because I mean, I get there's a lot of labor that goes into it, design work and all that, but paying $200 for a buffer, I don't think I could personally ever
yeah,
do that. But
yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's differences between them, you know, more headroom and stuff like that. I'm not an expert on buffers, but
We'll come on to your expertise.
I can build a couple different ones, transistor, you know, JFET, IC buffers.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
And you've already, I mean, you mentioned earlier on about your time with Subdecay. I mean, can you tell us about that, what you learned and what you were doing?
Yeah, so I basically was just the builder. I'd solder the parts in, I'd put all the parts in the pedals, solder the SMDs, final, you know, assembly. So I kind of did it all there, everything but painting cases and drilling. You know, I did a lot of the stuff, boxing up final stuff. The boss would come through, he'd test everything before it went out, and then I'd knob it and we'd box it up and send it out the door. So most of the time I was working by myself there, and he would come out and just make sure everything was good before it went out the door.
Mm.
And most of what I learned there was, you know, how to make things so that you can assemble them quicker. And, you know, it would be more useful for my stuff if I built more than, you know, 10 pedals at a time. But I really like doing limited runs. So a lot of it was just, you know, streamlining the whole manufacturing.